So this is our presidential campaign for the United States of America. My name is Bridget Herrera, and I'm with Cal Douglas and Lucas Libby. So first up here, we have the overview of the office and kind of why we decided to run. And our main purpose for running is just basically, if you're gonna run big. If things are gonna go how they're gonna go, and it's all in God's plan. So obviously what we would be doing is commanding chief of armed forces, making treaties and federal appointments, and just making sure that they run smooth, making sure that it's fair in all for all parties involved. And then obviously implementing laws signed by Congress, because that is our main job, is just to implement laws fairly. And then our annual State of the Union address to Congress, and elected for 4 years. And as of 1951, you could only serve 2 terms in total. And then next up here, we have our statement of candidacy. And this is basically just saying who we are, what we want to run for. As you can see here, office saw, we would put president there. And this is basically how you get on the ballot. Just show them I'm a candidate, I'm a potential candidate. This is who I am, or where you can find me. And then next up, we just have more requirements. For example, must be a natural born citizen of the United States and have been a resident of the United States for 14 years. And you have to be at least 35 years old. So actually, our youngest president was 42 years old, and he was Theodore Roosevelt. And if you actually plan to raise or spend more than $5,000, you have to register with the Federal Election Commission, which is obviously for any presidential campaign a must, because $5,000 is really low budget for your campaign. And then next up, we have why we're running. So again, we decided if you're going to run big. And we actually also have a desire to serve the people and help our country grow, because obviously we know our country has so much potential to just become, this ultimate powerful nation, and that's what we wanted to do. And also improve relations with foreign nations and make a name for ourselves by just becoming this overall, figure that just stepped up to the plate. And then next up, we have how we're going to get people to vote for us. So first up, we have our policies, which include immigration and gun laws. And immigration especially, because we obviously know that that's a really big issue in today's world, and kind of how people are seeing that. So we wanted it to make it easier to become a citizen, because obviously right now the progress is super hard and difficult, and it's just almost impossible for some people. So we wanted to make it easier, but also kind of harder to stay here illegally. So it's kind of like our fair ground. And then also letters in the mail. And what we wanted to do is just send it out to red and swing states. And swing states are basically just, they can go either or, red or blue. And we wanted to really make them fun, make them ourselves, not something people are going to look at and just be like, oh my God, another letter. And we actually wanted to give them an option to receive more letters or posters, so we're not kind of, just sending them out. And also to volunteer. And that's how we're going to get our volunteers, because we want to get at least 150 volunteers by those letters. And then obviously us reaching out. And then our slogan, freedom for all. Obviously, in today's day, freedom is something essential. And just let them know that that's what is in our best interest, is for them to feel free. And then, of course, merch and rallies. We want to create merch intended for everybody that everyone can wear and enjoy. And just, again, rally in red and swing states, and just really get our message out. And then also social media, of course. So we're going to go through Instagram and TikTok. And for Instagram, we're just going to create an account and, reels, posts, stories, ads, and sponsorship. And reels, posts, and stories are obviously really popular today, especially in the younger generation. And we want them to know that their voice and their vote matters as well. And ads and sponsorship to just reach out to people we never would have thought possible. And then TikTok, we really want to get a social media manager, because obviously that would be really impactful to know, like, what the younger generation likes, and how we would be able to reach out to them. And this videos introducing ourselves, who we are, what is important to us, our values, explaining our policies. Just reach out to those who are willing to help. So next we have our budget, and we want to spend this on ads, merchandise, letters, and rallies. For example, ads would be Hulu, TV networks, YouTube, Instagram, TikTok, and a billboard. And then again, merch, and then letters. So how much it will cost approximately for ads? It can cost $150,000 or more. And merch, $30,000 or more. Letters, $300 million, just because of the fact that, we're going to have to print them out, send them out, and there's going to be multiple periods of sending out letters. And then rallies, of course, because we're going to be flying out. We have to fly out our the people who were working with us, and then obviously the venues and stuff like that. So that would also be something that would be a heavy price at $200 million. And the miscellaneous, for example, like the social media manager we wanted to get, that would go into that $400 million of miscellaneous, and also just wardrobe, food to pay for the people who are volunteering for us and working for us. So that would really just go into miscellaneous. Next up, we have our interest groups. And this is just basically support from our special interest groups that where their values align with us and what we believe in and what we're trying to make happen. And for us, that would basically be the Federation for American Immigration Reform. And that one's really important because obviously immigration is a really important policy that we're trying to reach out to. And we also have the Gun Owners of America and the Alliance Defending Freedom. So basically these two are just really pro-gun rights and stuff like that. And then the Alliance Defending Freedom actually defends religious liberty cases. And that's really important because, you know, in all this, it's important not to forget our faith, not to forget our religion. Next up, we have PACs and super PACs. And basically PACs is where from each individual, they can only receive a certain amount in donations. Whereas super PACs, there's no limit at all. So that they can get from anyone. So for our interest, it would be super PAC just because obviously with such a high campaign budget and all the money that we're going to need, it would be super, super helpful in, you know, making sure that we're able to actually get the money for all this stuff that we're planning for and that everything goes kind of how we're hoping that it goes. And then actually, this is something that we had found that really kind of went with what our reasoning to even run was, is it is hard to fail, but it's even worse to never have tried to succeed. And this is from Theodore Roosevelt. And basically just because obviously, you know, things may not go your way, you may not win, but as long as you tried, you put your best effort in, you persevere to the fullest, that's all that matters. You know, you put yourself out there, you know, you let them know all the potential that you have, and, you know, if it didn't work out how you wanted, then that's all in God's faith, and that's okay. And actually, our president that would be running would be Kyle Douglas, and then his vice president would be Lucas Libby. And actually, as of me, I would feel I would not be the best candidate to run for presidency, especially just because I feel like it's not something that is really I'm interested in. I feel like I wouldn't really put my whole heart and soul into it, which is I feel like is something that is needed. And Kyle actually said that it's just too much work and pressure to just be the, you know, the figure that's kind of representing all of the United States. And then also, you know, the mainstream media, a lot of things can go negative or positive ways, but mostly negative. And Lucas thinks that, you know, his heart just wouldn't be in it enough to give it the love that it deserves, the love that the country deserves and the people deserves. So that is our opinion on whether we would ever actually run for presidency or not. And that was it. Thank you so much for watching.